Hey everyone, welcome back. Joe here again, scalefreak.com, coming to bring you another install of an absolutely amazing product. This is a HeyOK Servo Winch, winch and light controller, and this one here is just the winch and light controller. I picked these things up. Let me tell you, for years and years and years, I've been looking at HeyOK products, and I've never been able to pull the trigger. Why? Well, not for lack of quality of the product, but for lack of a sense of value of what you would get with the product. These things here, they're not the cheapest thing in the market, but that's for a reason. These things are absolutely amazing, but the problem is not everyone's using them, and it's not easy just to walk into your hobby shop and get them, so it's hard to see them and see the value of the quality of the product that is actually sitting here. What is it? Well, best way to say it, pretty much the best winch controller on the planet. On this one here, Servo Winch. And this specific model that I got, not only does it work as a relay for the Servo Winch, but it also runs 2 light channels as well. So I got this one for my truck. This one is going to go in my wife's TRX4. This one here, it does run a winch. So here is the line, because we're going to connect this to a Bully Dog winch, or sorry, a Warren winch that I already have, and also a double light controller. Everything is wired in so that it's on the connectors. So power in, power out, powers this completely, powers the winch on its own, and then the different light channels. Really, really, really neat. And this servo, tough as nails. So this is gonna be a really neat system to get in there. This guy here, look at, that is gooped up pretty hardcore. This is gonna be waterproof. The servo, because I got the servo, I ordered it directly from him. It's already pre-wired in there. He's already got it soldered in and set up to the relays, and it's all gooped up, so it's going to be waterproof. In the case of my wife's, where I did not get it, he has the lines already gooped in, and then just gave me a couple leads to run to the winch that I am going to run on her truck as well. For her truck, just to bring it forward here a little bit, I'm going to put the winch on this front section here, so that the winch will be inboard on the body. See if I can find the winch. It will be right here, and I've already ordered an extra bumper so that it will actually come through the bumper and a fair lead out the front. And then somewhere back in the back area, I'll wire this thing in and also run her white light kits to it, and she'll be able to use that remote for winch in, winch out, lights on, lights off. But kind of getting her truck out of the way, her truck is not the subject of tonight's install. It's my truck, because again, I want this servo winch. So moving this stuff out of the way, the chassis, the Vanquish chassis, does come with the 4 extra screws to put the servo winch in, but I did have to get some spacers, 3mm aluminum spacers. The reason being is because when I put this winch in, it just fits into the top. It does, watch when I do this, it does make connection with the top of the axle when you compress it. So what it'll actually do is this guy here will connect with the axle. It will cause problems. But I tested it out with a handful of different spacers, and 3mm was the trick, where the bottom of the winch spindle here will not touch the chassis, and this here will not touch the pumpkin. So that's 3mm was the trick. Now the install, how does that work? Well, spin this bad boy around here. Super easy. This guy here is gonna go on there like that. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but that's really what it is. And then what I'm gonna do, of course, I'll put the spacers in to kind of stand it off a little bit, is then I'll run a winch line through here, through this center part here, because Vanquish actually makes it so it will connect through here so it reruns itself. And then I'm gonna spool it as much as I want to onto the spool itself. And then, well, Bob's your uncle. Snip it, put a hook on it. But how does this work? This is kind of cool. Here's my remote. Here's my battery. Plug my battery in. Oh, for this truck, I'm actually gonna run a 2 battery setup in series, parallel. So I'll be 4,400 milliamp all through one connector. So that's what I plan on doing with this truck, because I'm gonna run lights and stuff on it. So connect that on there. This is now powered up. So of course now this here would go to the truck itself. So this is an inline cable, right? So first I have my lights. So if I hit C, there's a light. If I hit D, there's a light. So I can set one of them to my forward lights. I could set one of them to my backward lights or rock lights or whatever it is I'm going to put in here. And then that way I have everything I need from the controller. I don't have to pull the truck apart in order to plug lights in and off. I really don't need to run them during the day, so I can just turn them off and not have to worry about wasting any battery or ruining any pictures. But the winch, well, that's A and B. Now, one of the options that I did get on this thing is what's called soft start. So maybe you've used a winch before. Maybe you've hit the button and it instantly starts going 100%. This doesn't do that. It takes, if I remember correctly reading it, 1/3 of a second to get up to full speed. So here's my A, and then my B. It lets it out. And that's it. So it takes a moment to ramp up, so it's not an instant tug, and you just go back and forth. And that's how the winch is going to work. Now this I like because it's on a little chain, it's wireless, I don't have to worry about taking up another receiver, and also this is a relay. So it's not like the other winch controllers that you can get where it's constantly providing power and your servo might creep, because I've tried to twist this thing, it's not going to creep. When you're not hitting the button, and you actually hear it on my wife's, which is doesn't have a winch connected to it, you can hear the relays click. So when you are not hitting the button, it is not supplying any power to this. It's not going to drain. Same with your lights. When they're turned off, it is not supplying any power, so it's not going to drain. You're not going to get that problem where you accidentally hit a trim setting on your radio or the lever on your radio and you're pulling against your winch line, burning stuff out, snapping stuff, or the opposite. It's unspooling and making an absolute mess and dropping stuff all over your axle. But give me 1 second. I'm going to get this installed into the truck. For this chassis here, again, this is an RC4WD bumper that once upon a time I had to drill a hole into in order to get this on there. That was a bit of a work. But the chassis brace here actually has a spot to run your winch line through already. So what I'm going to do for this one here is just kind of poke it through. Get it in there. Run it through here. Of course it wants to bend on me. There we go. And then just to spool it on there, flip it over. So now you can see it's running through here. And now I don't know exactly how much this I want to put on there. I mean, I'm going to put a bit on. I don't know exactly how much, but definitely a bit. What I'm going to do is just kind of run it onto this and tie it onto here so that it's got something to grab onto. Now again, I've got this thing spaced off just enough so that I am not going to have a problem with it making connection with my axle, which is key for me. I tested it that even if I go to full compression on both sides of the suspension, which, I mean, you really wouldn't do, I'm still not going to make contact, which is again key. If I'm articulating one side or the other, I'm definitely not going to make contact. But even if for some reason, maybe I'm trying to winch it up a rock and I'm just compressing the snot out of my my front suspension, it's not, again, it's not going to make contact. Just make sure this is tied on really nice, do a few knots. Because the last thing you want is this coming off and wrapping up in your axle. So spend an extra moment getting this thing locked on there. So now, again, it's all poked through here. You have to make sure that you put it in the right direction so that, because if you put it this way, it will make contact with your links. If you put it this way, you're fine. So I do want to get some spool on here. I'll just do a couple spins. And then how much do I want to put on here? Oh, I'm using my wife's remote. Where's my remote? There it is. Oh, wrong way. So kind of put this in there, and let's see. It's probably as long as my winch line needs to be, right? Shouldn't need a spool any more than that, I guess. Any more than that, I mean, it's a little unreal with scale. The next thing you know, you're like, oh yeah, I've got 200 meters of winch line. So I've got that on there. So what I'm gonna do, obviously, just cut this off. And then I've got a hook here that I'll put it all onto. So give me a second, I'm gonna get this tied up, and then I'm gonna screw the servo in. all pieced together, you can kind of see it in there. It's in there, and it's not making contact with anything. It's not making contact with the top of the pumpkin. It's not making contact with any of the links. Again, if you do articulation on one side, it's not even anywhere close. But let's say, for example, we're trying to winch yourself up a rock and it's doing full compression. Well, it's still not going to do contact with the actual thimble on the winch. Now, I've got the hook on. Let's see, get the battery. Again, the battery will be configured like this in the future, and then I'll just do a splitter. I'll connect it in. Right now, the wiring is a little sketchy. I don't want to touch the gear, but this is basically what it's going to be. So winch out, and then winch back in. And because it has that soft start, it makes it a little bit easier. And as long as you keep that thing tight with some tension on that, and you can feel it, it's just not going to pull out. You're not going to have the problem with it unraveling and making an absolute mess underneath your truck. And then you just kind of hang your hook there. Or some people might hook it onto something like this, just to keep it out of the way, kind of like that. Or I've actually seen some people try to hook it onto the bar up here if you've got a Jeep that it'll do it for. And that's it. You just hook this on to maybe somewhere on your radio, maybe a lanyard or something like that, and you're good for the day. And that's it. Boom. There's the space for it. And then when you want to put the body on, it all fits. Winch comes out the front, nice and clean. Ta-da! And then when I have the lights installed, that'll be my front light, that'll be my back light. And that's it. Ta-da! Pretty cool. HeyOK Servo Winch, winch and light controller. You can get it all on the HeyOK website. Just go to Google and type in HeyOK, H-E-Y-O-K. They also have a Facebook page you can go to. And he's in Canada. He's in British Columbia. So Canadians, if you order it, you don't have to worry about paying ridiculous shipping fees or any type of duties or anything like that. He is in Canada, and he makes every single one of these things. So it's pretty awesome. And I wasn't 100% sure what I needed for this truck. So I emailed him. His name is Al. I emailed him. I told him exactly what my setup was with both of the trucks. And he said, I have the answer for you. It's this and it's this. And he sent me an invoice, and bang, here it is. As you can see here, I've just got the controller stuck. So I know this is the battery tray, but I put all my electronics in here so I can seal them up. And then I stuck that just to the side of it. I will adjust all this stuff so it's cleaner and not going to get in the way of the gears. And I'll strap my batteries down. And that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching this video on this HeyOK winch controller, light controller, and servo winch. I'll have the other one installed in my wife's TRX4 soon, and then we'll have 2 winches. So guys, thank you very much for watching. As always, click on the like, subscribe, comment below if you've ever tried any of his stuff, or even if you've considered it. Or what are you using as a no-creep winch controller that works as good as this one does? And make sure you share this to the community. Maybe there's somebody that that you've been talking to that will benefit from this information. So guys, thank you very much for watching. Have a great night.